Deep within the Mildark Forest, a skirmish is being fought. An expedition of wizards searching for magical Arcanite is ambushed by a gang of mischievous gremlins from their underground lair. Hello, my name is Alex from Warp Miniatures, and today in just 10 minutes I'm going to teach you how to play ArcWorlde, the fantasy skirmish wargame. So, what is ArcWorlde? ArcWorlde is a characterful fantasy skirmish wargame where you and your friends can do battle amidst the realm of the Mildark Forest. It's fun, quick, and beginner-friendly, and in this demo I will show you a little bit of the game to show you how it works. So, back to the Mildark Forest. A game of ArcWorlde is split into rounds, and at the start of each round, all players roll a die to see who goes first. The gremlins roll a 5 and the wizards roll a 3, so those cheeky lighters get the jump on the startled spellcasters. Let's get started and activate our first character. I will activate Scrab, who is a gremlin scamp. Each character has stats that can be found in their faction rules, downloadable in PDF form for free on the Warp Miniatures website. We also have a fantastic warband builder app made by community member Tomio, which allows you to easily construct your warband, add equipment, and generate these awesome illustrated stat cards that can be printed for use during your games. Now, Scrab wants to attack the nearest wizard, so he moves his movement stat to scamper 5 inches towards him. Now he's in base contact, he's going to attack him. Scrab has 2 action points to spend, and he's going to use all of them to do the stabby stab attack. This has a power of 5, so 5 dice are rolled. A 1 to 3 is a failed roll, a 4 or 5 is a success, and a 6 is a crit, which counts as 2 successes and possibly unlocks additional rules. Scrab rolls a 1, 2 2s, a 5, and a 6. The 6, a crit, unlocks the attack special rule, allowing 1 more die to be rolled. Another 4, for a total of 4 hits. His target, Benny the Apprentice, now must defend himself. Using the same rules as the attack dice, each hit is defended individually, and as soon as the roll is failed, the remaining hits are taken as damage. Benny successfully defends the first hit, but fails the second. This means he takes 3 points of damage, reducing his health points to 3. Ouch! Scrab has spent all of his action points, so his activation ends. Now it's the wizard's turn. Lucinda, another apprentice, makes her movement and decides to strike back at the gremlins. She is armed with a ranged weapon, a piece of equipment that allows her to make ranged attacks. A model doesn't need to have the weapon you equip it with in the game, so let's imagine that Lucinda has a slingshot in her back pocket. Ranged attacks work exactly the same as melee attacks, but require a roll to shoot to see if they hit the target. Shooting is a feat, an action in the game that has graded difficulty to achieve. To shoot a target requires an easy feat, which needs only 1 success to achieve. Taking no chances, Lucinda spends 2 action points to roll 2 dice, a 2 and a 5. 1 success, the shot hits. The wizard's ranged weapon has a power of 5. The target is in range, the damage is rolled, the hits are defended, and the damage is removed from the gremlin's HP. Lucinda has spent all of her AP, so it's back to the gremlins. Boggle the gremlin scamp is also keen to get into combat. He makes his full movement towards Lucinda, but it just isn't quite far enough to make contact. He decides to spend 1 of his action points to leg it, an extra movement action that allows him to run that little bit further, but at a risk. A die is rolled to see how far he moves, 1 to 5, and he scurries those extra few inches. A 6, however, and his excitement gets the better of him, and he bungles it. Boggle rolls a 4 and scampers an extra 4 inches towards his target. Still not far enough. Although further attempts are free, each time the numbers for failure increase by 1, meaning next time he fails on a 5 or a 6. Feeling lucky, Boggle attempts another leg-it roll, but this time rolls a 5, stumbling on a branch and falling flat on his face. He is now prone, a very vulnerable status that makes it very easy indeed for enemies to attack or steal from him. Well, you can't win them all. On to the wizards. Benny the apprentice, startled at being jumped by Scrab, decides to summon some help. As he is a mage, he can cast spells in the game. Each faction has a spell list that their mages can use, and the outcome of spells are indicated by drawing cards from the Arc deck, a pack of regular playing cards used for all manner of mechanics in the game. Casting a spell requires 2 AP, so Benny spends all of his action points and charges his staff to attempt to cast Conjure Sapphire Sprites. The spell requires 14 to be drawn from the deck, and casting a spell allows you to draw 2 cards. Benny draws a 3 and an 8, not quite enough to cast the spell. Luckily, he was equipped with an Arcanite token before the game. Arcanite is a magical substance that, when tokens are spent, allow you to do all sorts of exciting things. One of those is drawing an extra card when casting a spell, and Benny draws a 7. He can therefore channel enough magic, and 2 cheeky sprites are conjured onto the battlefield. Suddenly, there's a rumble in the underbrush. An angry forest troll stampedes into the clearing, and he is looking hungry. Creatures are a huge part of ArcWorlde and can be either played as their own warband, hired as part of a faction, or used as game-controlled hazards to vex the players. This forest troll decides to spend 3 AP to hurl a boulder at one of the gremlins, hitting him and doing a whopping 6 damage. The poor fellow only has 5 HP, so he is knocked out and removed from the game. Grub the gremlin was standing right next to the fellow that got taken out by that boulder, and as such is absolutely cacking his pants. As he was within 3 inches of a knocked out ally, he must now take a bravery test, which requires 2 dice to be rolled and compared to his bravery stat. The roll total indicates the amount of fear they feel in that moment. The bravery stat is how much fear they can withstand. Grub rolls a 9, far surpassing his paltry 6 bravery, and as such he heads for the hills. He is broken and must spend his whole movement moving towards the nearest board edge. Maybe he can rally himself next round. As a large monster, the forest troll has 8 AP to spend. However, powerful characters have the split activation trait on their stats profile, which allows them to pause their activation so they don't have to spend all of their AP at once. The forest troll decides to do so. Back to the wizards. Zelkador is a powerful mage and the commander of the wizards' warband. Dismayed at the sight of his students in the path of a marauding troll, he thinks on his feet for a way to give them a fighting chance. This, my friends, is a moment for a narrative feat. Narrative feats are player-made actions in the game that allow you to create amazing moments for your characters whilst playing. They might be small, they might be epic, but they allow you to potentially turn the tide of the battle and create amazing memories whilst playing. Zelkador notices that a tree lies in the path of the rampaging troll. Summoning his considerable magical might, he attempts to push the tree over onto the troll so his apprentices can escape. All feats are graded in difficulty, and each grade requires a certain number of successes to accomplish. With narrative feats, players discuss how challenging that action would be for the character and decide the difficulty level between them. Although it is a large tree, for such a master as Zelkador, a hard feat seems reasonable. A hard feat requires 3 successes, and Zelkador may spend as many of his AP as he wishes to attempt it. Shouting words of great magical power, Zelkador spends all 4 of his AP as he pushes with all of his might. He rolls a 1, a 2, a 4, and a 6, 3 successes. The ancient trunk cracks and groans, falling onto the troll and knocking him down. A narrative feat causes 3 hits per difficulty level, so 9 hits are taken by the troll, who fails his first defense roll and loses all 9 HP. The players also decide that the troll would most definitely be knocked prone by the falling lumber, and with that, the wizard's turn is over. Of course, there is so much more to the game, but that should give you a little taste of what ArcWorlde has to offer. With 12 playable factions, monsters, swords for hire, campaigns, solo rules, there is still so much left in ArcWorlde for you to explore. If you have any questions, please drop a comment below, or you can join us on our ArcWorlde Facebook group or the Discord server if you have any questions about the game. Thank you very much and welcome to ArcWorlde.